Well, we gotta make another Twitter video. Hey, what's up, everybody on Twitter?
What's up, Beans, and welcome back to Ctrl-Alt-Fight, the ideal place to catch up on a whole week's news, and it certainly has been an entertaining week. Daigo switches from Street Fighter to Street Dancer, Momochi tells his side of the Evo Japan match versus Punk, Capcom Cup champion MenaRD gets sent a baby version of the trophy, Guilty Gear Strive gets hacked and causes tournaments to be cancelled, a Japanese OG decides to become a pro gamer at the age of 51, and today's top story, Harada casually announces that Tekken 8 will have rollback netcode and crossplay. Let's begin with Momochi's thoughts on his Evo Japan match versus Punk. If you saw last week's episode, you already know that some form of display lag or controller lag caused a 40-minute interruption to the Street Fighter V top 8. But while all eyes were on Punk, Momochi enlightened us with this new information with a translation by Doc Fugu. Momochi thinks Punk's initial complaint might have been about controller lag. The lag may have been caused by wireless interference from the audience members' mobile phones. Punk's monitor was apparently laggy, so they switched sides and Momochi was fine with that. The interruption took a long time, but on the flip side, Evo prioritized the players instead of rushing things to keep the stream on schedule. And Momochi understands it's a tough situation and feels no ill will towards Punk or to Evo. Now, there's plenty more that was said, and be aware that this is a fan translation, so be sure to check the original stream if you do plan to quote anything Momochi said elsewhere. I do hope we find more information about what was wrong specifically with the Evo setup, which the organizers say was the actual problem. Whether they said that just to protect the sponsor and owner of the event, I'm not sure, but with Street Fighter 6 only a couple months away, I really hope that this next generation of fighters can finally get past many of the console-related issues that we've been struggling with for the past 8 years. Speaking of Street Fighter 6, Capcom dropped the new theme music for Zangief, and opinions continue to be divided on the modern hip-hop aesthetic. Every track so far has opted for a club vibe instead of the classic Wagnerian melody-based character themes, and although Street Fighter fans are generally positive about the gameplay, it remains to be seen whether the soundtrack will match that Fight Club energy of a tournament. Generally, I stand by my opinion that having a club-style aesthetic for music in Street Fighter 6 is important for expanding the franchise beyond the game and into a combination of esports, media tie-ins, lavish Formula 1 style boat parties, and just changing the image of video games to attract bigger audiences and a wider range of sponsorship money. One player in no need of money, however, is MenaRD, who put out this tweet hoping to get players into a winning mindset for fighting games. If you don't play because you love the game and only play because of money, you are not getting that first place. I will play Street Fighter 6 fighting games with or without money. I want money to be able to keep playing without worries. It sounds cool and makes for a great story, but it kind of reminds me of the manga Bakuman, where the artists believed that their passion was the right way to succeed, only to find out that in the industry, there are so many different paths that lead to success. I'm kind of looking forward to the day that someone who doesn't even like fighting games wins $1 million at Capcom Cup and then quits the next day. Well, it's a good thing that Mena isn't playing fighting games for the rewards, because the trophy he was sent by Capcom is so wildly different to the one he held at the tournament that it kind of makes you wonder what the PR was or wasn't thinking when they sent it out. MenaRD isn't just the Capcom Cup champion, he's the only player in Capcom Cup history to win it twice, and the cup he held up after winning this year was a beautiful tournament cup. What they sent him, however, was the same size as one of those participation trophies that everyone on the Dad's Club soccer team gets, whether or not they helped at all. The trophy does appear to be cup-shaped, but as you can see from this size comparison picture, the cup probably isn't even big enough for a pint of beer. I hope you like doing vodka shots, Mena. Oh, and to add salt to the wound, Sonic Fox pointed out that they got to take home the actual massive NRS Hammer Trophy for winning a Mortal Kombat tournament. But now it's time for this week's top story. Harada jumping on Twitter to casually insult people and drop exciting news for Tekken 8. In a series of jokingly aggressive tweets, Harada confirmed that an overseas student studying abroad once supervised a character, and that he has commissioned someone he found on social media to design a character's default costume. In response to a simple question about crossplay, we got the very simple answer, "Of course I will." He pointed out that he wanted to implement it before, but there were behind-the-scenes issues that meant it couldn't happen. Some of you may even remember he explained this at the very first Fighting Games Roundtable online meeting a few years back. The next announcement was a bit more cryptic though. In response to the question, will there be rollback, Harada's answer was, already installed it. Now, on the one hand, this sounds like he's confirming rollback netcode for Tekken 8, which would allow for all the classic benefits like preventing slowdown, which can eat inputs and mess up combos, and extended range for matchmaking, since games with rollback have more tolerance to online connections with higher ping. thing. But on the other hand, we've also heard Harada say that Tekken already has rollback. This was a few years ago when he declared that the rollback frame in T7 is 3. To this day, I'm still not quite sure what he meant, but the point is that it's highly possible that the rollback netcode we've seen implemented in 2D fighters like Guilty Gear Strive or KOF 15 is not the same as what we'll be getting in Tekken 8. Whatever the implementation of rollback is, all I'm hoping is that we get user-adjustable input delay and gameplay that doesn't slow down and wait for inputs to arrive. If the game has to roll back, that's fine, but dropping a combo because the game is constantly changing its mind about how often to listen for your inputs, that just feels bad as a gameplay experience. Still, I do recognize that rollback in a game with 3D colliders is likely to be much more complicated than 2D fighters like Street Fighter. Speaking of dancing, it's time for OMG, a hit tweet. This week's hit tweet is a quickly clipped video by FGC's Eye in the Sky, High Fight, who posted this clip of Daigo doing what appears to be Zangief's Russian dance from Street Fighter 2 in the streets of Japan. Daigo and his posse did a series of IRL streams over the course of a few days, walking over 200 miles from Sendai to Hirosaki to see the cherry blossoms. Cherry blossom season often comes a bit later in northern Japan, so if you missed it in Tokyo, heading north on a walking tour might well be a good idea. Anyway, I think we can all agree that the best result of this walking tour was that now we have a green screen version of Daigo dancing, which we can post into every fighting game related video in the future. While we're talking about Daigo, have a look at these pictures of him edited into Manon's level 3 super combo in Street Fighter 6. No idea when he was dancing like this, but thanks to Photoshop, now we have this. Blazblue might have a future yet, according to IGN's Mitchell Saltzman, who interviewed the CEO at Arc System Works. Apparently, they want to avoid having Guilty Gear and Blazblue compete with each other, but they also said this: it is definitely not the case that Blazblue is done. It is something that will be in the future. As for the possibility of a one-piece fighting game, the question was asked, but the answer was pretty much the usual marketing speak. I can't say either way, but it doesn't mean it's decided, or doesn't mean it's outside the realm of possibility. The upcoming League of Legends fighting game Project L has finally been played by a member of the community who hasn't become an employee at Riot Games. Pro player GamerB posted his initial impressions in a series of notepad screenshots. If you're allergic to AI translations, you may want to look away now. Project L is confirmed to be free to play. The game is not close to the beta stage yet. The battle system aims to be easy to pick up but have depth for research. And it's going to be a live service, something like Street Fighter V, which just constantly updates rather than releasing as new paid products like Street Fighter 4, Super Street Fighter 4, and Ultra Street Fighter 4. There are plenty more details in the original tweet, but one last point that's especially interesting for us arcade stick fans: there won't be any technical inputs. There won't be any moves that require specific input commands, as well as all moves will be button plus direction combinations. Plenty of fighting games have tried this in the past, but avoiding motion inputs doesn't automatically lead to a successful game. With the huge player base that already plays League of Legends, however, the success of Project L would likely have a huge influence on future fighting games, since developers might see it as confirmation that motion inputs scare off new and casual players. Well, if motion inputs disappear completely from fighting games, I'll just close my channel and give up entirely. Alright, I'm just joking, but no, really, if motion inputs disappear entirely, that would suck beyond all imagination. Anyway, time to rush down the rest of the news. Guilty Gear Strive continues to suffer from what appears to be a targeted hacking issue. Popular streamers are finding their game grinding to a halt, among other peculiar issues, to the point that some tournaments are even being cancelled as a result. In an unofficial update from Junior, an Arxis esports manager, a fix is on the way. A fighting game chess crossover is coming out called Checkmate Showdown. It looks amazing, and Evo champions like Sonic Fox are keeping an eye on it. I still have PTSD from the fatalities in battle chess on the IBM 386, so I'll be steering clear of this one. A Japanese writer for Dengeki Online has decided to go pro for Street Fighter 6. Kurita Oyakata is an OG from the Jurassic era, but turning 51 this year is not going to stop him from the temptation of that juicy $1 million prize being offered to the winner of the next Capcom Cup. It'll be fun to follow his progress, since we know that many players in their 30s and 40s are keen to know how long they can realistically play fighting games at the competitive level before they have to retire with arthritis from all that double tapping. Some unfortunate news for fans of Under Night, In-Birth, and Gundam Extreme Versus. The popular tournament Climax of Night will not be happening in 2023, and its future in 2024 is still undecided. Organizer Shinobi posted this twit longer explaining that the tournament won't be happening for a combination of reasons, including disgusting things that were said online. and also the fact that they didn't intend to run the tournament forever anyway. I never got a chance to visit in person, but I saw the streams online and it always led to hype matches, so it sucks to hear that it won't be running anymore, but it sounds like they had a good run. Now if only French Bread would give us some freaking information about the absolute state of Under Night in Here's an arcade stick with way too many buttons, and in fact no stick whatsoever. Apparently it's in preparation for Street Fighter 6, but it looks like it has some kind of button-related viral infection. AS Indo knows you love balls, so they've created a line of balls that you can grip tightly in as many ways as possible. I think we can all agree that the Dr. Mario pill one looks the best. Listen up, that's all for this week. Every week I try to make this video faster, and every week I fail and end up taking longer, but rest assured I do have some regular review style videos coming soon, and of course, this new series will continue as usual next week. Subscribe if you loved it, comment with your favorite story of the day, and hey, check out this video right here for more fighting game goodness. That's all for now, and I'll see you next week for another episode of Ctrl-Alt-Fight.